Good evening, race fans. Welcome in once again for the third night running here at Talladega Super Speedway. This track has seen some seriously great action in the last two nights. If you missed it last night, it was a barn burner down to the checkered flag, and tonight it's the NORA Cup Series turn. That's right, the 2023 playoffs continue tonight. 36 laps in the first stage, 72 in the second, 113 overall here tonight. It's live iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network, and it's so great to have you with us here. I'm Trevor Greenfield, as always, your play caller, but I will be joined here in the booth by sim racing legend, and that's right, legend. He won last night in the NORA Truck Series right here live on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it. And he's going to be joining us here tonight. Not only does he have a stacked team in the field in Full Send Motorsports, but he brings all kinds of expertise. Christian Snyder joining us here live. And Christian, what can these drivers expect out there? If anybody's going to know, it's going to be you. What are they going to look for tonight out there at Talladega?
Well, if it's anything like last night, you got to look out for the wrecks. It was kind of a caution-filled race, and the survival was the key. Missed a lot of wrecks, was involved in one, and still was able to win. So even if you see your favorite driver get tangled up in a wreck, it is not the end of the day. These cars are super durable. They can buff out pretty easily and still be good in the draft. So expect a good race with a lot of people in a must-win situation already for this playoff, or at least must finish very good. Cody Height needs a really good run tonight. Chad Engel as well. So we'll keep an eye on them. Adam Kulikowski as well needs a good run. So wishing the best for all of those guys to try to get good runs.
Yeah, and there you can see the points on the screen as they enter in tonight, and Vincent Arthur, of course, taking the first round of the playoffs, and that marks 5 wins in the last 8 races. There is no hotter driver in sim racing right now than Vincent Arthur, who is just simply on fire, but he might kind of be taking it easy out there tonight, so don't look for him to necessarily try to get up there into victory lane. He might be trying to push some of his teammates or others that he wants to get up there into the round of 8. There you can see the rest up there. Dustin Kleba yet to get a win here in the round of 12. So all these drivers, I would say Kleba and Bird, if they can just get solid finishes, are going to be pretty safe to get into the round of 8. But, some of these other drivers, including Ronnie Norman, Brady Motes, Tom Senchek, if you look at how close those points are, I mean, Ronnie Norman 30-45 down to Jake Christenberry and Matthew George tied at 30-37. So if we're talking about getting in on points, these drivers are very, very close to slipping out if anyone else, such as Chad Engel or Cody Height, are able to have a great run here tonight. And, of course, on screen, Adam Kulikowski putting in his qualifying effort. So you can't count any of these drivers out. And, again, if anybody who's in the playoffs that hasn't taken a win yet, if they take a win here tonight, it's green light to the round of 8, and everyone else going to have to work that much harder to get into that round of 8. But so far, Tom Senchek putting in the top time. His teammate over at Late Apex Racing, Ryan Bird, in second fastest. Dakota Moniz also in Late Apex Racing, now third fastest. So apparently they know what they're doing over there. And Christian, I see Late Apex coming in with the 5th fastest time as well. Of course, this is about the time, though, that we start mentioning how qualifying is not exactly the most important thing here at Talladega.
Yeah, qualifying, not very important. I think I showed that last night. My entire team started beyond 20th, and we were up front and contenders the entire race. So qualifying really doesn't matter here. You're going to see a mixed bag of strategies. We already see, obviously, Late Apex wants to be out front early and in control of this race. But you look further back in the field, 18th, Ronnie Norman, he's back there. I think his strategy tonight is going to be just stay safe for the first 2 stages, because he's got a little buffer for that playoff. He's got 21 points to the good, so he's going to try his best to keep his nose clean out here tonight.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to that. Your recipe last night over at Full Send, it seemed like most of you cats over there at Full Send were sticking around in the back and just waiting your time, and somewhere around halfway through, you sent some of the soldiers forward towards the front lines, and a couple of them got tangled up in some messes up there, but you sort of waited until the very end to make your appearance up there in the top 5, and it appears as though that was the right call.
I mean, there's casualties in war, and Talladega is definitely a war. You got to be there for the end to survive the battle, and luckily last night we were. My teammates, unfortunately, were not as lucky. We lost some men last night, but they were okay in the infield care center, and it was a party over at the boulevard for the team.
I can imagine those gnomes. Hey, if anyone knows how to party on pit lane, it is those gnomes for certain. So with that, I think we're getting in our last qualifying time right now and about to go official. As that's finishing up, we'll get a chance to go over tonight's starting grid here momentarily for you. And of course, as always, welcome to everybody watching live over in YouTube. We are set up for a fantastic evening of racing here for the NORA Cup Series playoffs. And why don't we go ahead and kick it off by telling you who's going to be starting where. That's right, tonight, round number 32 at Talladega, the 5th official round of the playoffs. It is going to be Dustin Kleba for KPR Motorsports taking pole position, with John Cottle for Harper Motorsports going to be starting alongside. In fact, if you take a look, top 2 rows are all championship drivers, and then Brady Motes also on the 3rd row. Vincent Arthur going to be starting on the 4th row. So Tom Senchek and Ryan Bird for Late Apex Racing are going to be 3rd and 4th. 5th and 6th will be Dakota Moniz and Brady Motes. On that 4th row, as I mentioned, Vincent Arthur for Flatline and Kyle Rochelle, Cody Reeder and Nick Geilis, Justin Moody and Timmy Harper going to be starting there 11th and 12th. Jacob Malone and Cameron Thompson. Then you've got in 15th Todd Slauson for that Full Send Motorsports team. Jake Christenberry for Prestige TRD. And you can see, of course, all of these yellow marked cars. For those of you not in the know, these are the championship drivers, so look for them throughout the race and in the ticker and the tower. Dakota Hendrickson and Blade Timmons will be starting 17th and 18th. In 19th, Jacob Gladelich. Next to him will be championship driver Cody Height. Ronnie Norman, going to be starting all the way back in 21st. Good thing qualifying not so important. Chad Engel, another playoff driver, starting next to him. And Adam Kulikowski, he needs as many points as he can to get in to the round of 8, starting 23rd. Starting next to him in 24th place will be Tyler DeTalent. And Matthew George starting 25th. Next to him, Ryan Patty. Patty vows that he can back up your win last night, Christian. So we're looking for that from Full Send Motorsports. Peyton Tulloch starting 27th. Blake Hoppy, in 28th. Christopher Thomas in 29th. And Stephen Henning making 30 in the field tonight. That's our best field here in the NORA Cup Series for quite some time. So exciting to see a full field of NASCAR Next Gen Cup cars take to Talladega. It should be a barn burner, and you won't want to go anywhere. So great to have everybody with us. Steven Dombrowski, excited for some good racing. Also excited, ready to move on from the high-speed demo derby known as Talladega. Well, at any time yet, we fortunately get another 113 laps of this beautiful track here. Drift King, that's Jacob Gladelich checking in with us over on YouTube. Appreciate you checking in and saying hello. John DeTalent, good luck tonight. Tyler, number 17, we got you. For sure, rooting on. I assume he's your son or brother or somebody, but yes, sir. Appreciate the family checking in. Mark says, let's go Vincent, my fellow Marylander. Yes, always got to root on same drivers from your state. That's how it works. And Gnomes for the win from Steven Dombrowski. Lots of IV drifts, I'm sure. Well-deserved win. Congrats. Well, he's recovered. He's ready to go here in the booth. And this is exciting stuff, Christian. Is there another strategy? You going for what did you think after last night? You go for stage wins or you go for the overall win? What's the most important here?
Well, if you're a playoff driver, you definitely want to go for stage points and get as many as you can to capitalize for the next round. But if you're not in the playoffs at all, you just want to stay in the back. We should have some pit stops before the end of stage 1, so be on the lookout for that. And I think the team that's going to be able to execute those the best are the late Apex guys. They just are very coordinated, so look for them to be working as a team throughout this race.
Barney the flag man waves that flag. We are green here for the first time at Talladega for the NORA Cup Series playoffs. Here we go. Dustin Kleba taken to the point with Tom Senchek, John Cottle, Dakota Moniz, and Ryan Bird there. All forming up at the front, still staying side by side. And Icon Cup Series Sunday night, this is a lot of what we saw side by side. Of course, we did see some fuel strategy, some fuel saving, so we'll see whether or not that comes into play here tonight. But, you know, it was the outside line, Christian, that really held its own on Sunday night with the Cup cars. It was totally different last night. We saw 3-wide racing within 10 laps here at Talladega. What do you think we're going to see here tonight with the NORA Cup Series?
I think we'll see the front 20 cars, definitely 2 and 3 wide, but you're going to see that line of cars in the back that are just willing to hang out. And right now, you can already see that the inside lane just really pushing a lot better than the outside, but a little bit of a checkup. Vincent Arthur sees that, jumps to the outside, and he's going to try to make that outside lane work with, I believe, that's Cody Reeder behind him. Or is that John Cottle? It looks like Cottle behind him.
We've got Cottle behind Arthur, and then on the outside, Moniz and Senchek.
You can see some cars already dropping back. Look like Nick Geilis dropping to the back. He doesn't like what he sees. All the moving around.
Arthur, with Cody, I believe, is it Cody Reeder?
I believe it's John Cottle. They're switching positions so quick that you can't really tell which one's which, but
Cody's
Cody
on
Reeder's
the
down
inside
there. Yeah,
exactly.
he's tucked in.
Kind of similar paint schemes for these two cars, so it takes you a little bit of time to get up to speed on exactly who is who, but there we go. Arthur now trying to hold that outside line. So what I was saying earlier about Arthur maybe taking the night off, taking it easy, running in the back, you know, maybe not.
He's got nothing to lose. I mean, he already knows he's locked in at Phoenix. He can go out here, or not Phoenix, at the round of 8. He's locked into the round of 8 already, so he's out here for fun, and that's rare whenever you talk about Talladega having fun here. It's usually stressful.
Well, stressful is the name of the game. If you're hyperventilating at this stage, you know, what do you see what happens when we get to the checkered flag and subsequent potential green-white checkers, as it was the case last night. But what do you do if you're in the middle of this pack? You're trying to stay clean. And let's say you're Dakota Moniz right here. You want to go up there and bump the guys up in front. You don't want to make a mistake. You got to keep all your wits about you. You do deep breaths? Are there breathing strategies? Are you relaxing your hands? How are you detensifying the situation?
Well, you got to remind yourself to breathe sometimes. It does get a little bit intense whenever you're in that pack, and you just got to have your left foot ready to jam on the brakes and just have a tight grip on that wheel at all times, because you just never know when the wreck's going to happen. You can see Vincent Arthur tried blocking that top lane of the late Apex guys, but they had such a good run. They're going to get around them on the outside for the lead.
Well, already some movement up here at the front. Arthur riding that outside wave, coming forward, and then deciding to pull down on the low line. And here comes late Apex Racing to the front. Ryan Bird and Kyle Rochelle have arrived. We'll see whether or not they can stay flying in formation with Bird in front.
Oh,
and now
Rochelle made a mistake. He slid a little bit too high on the bumper of Bird, and Tim Harper said, I'm going to take that spot now. And you can see Rochelle, he's just going straight to the back.
Well, and Christian, that's just what I was talking about. I mean, it looks like you're out there at a Sunday drive, but it's anything but. You could make just the tiniest mistake out here and end up putting yourself, someone else into the wall, or just easier is maybe going up and taking a little bit of time
wide
out
up front.
of it.
Looks like Tim Harper trying to make the outside lane work, possibly. Oh no, who is that in that outside? That's Kristen Berry. He's trying to make a third lane work up there, but no help up there, so he's going to lose a few positions. He does get tucked in there in front of Ronnie Norman. Norman in a new paint scheme out there tonight. He's got the Dick's Sporting Goods number 33 out there, looking good. Two fan club right there running together.
Absolutely. Stephen Dombrowski for Ronnie Norman. And, of course, Megan Beadle checking in. The Christenberry fan club is here, of course. Let's go, Bub. They're out there for you, Jake. It's tonight's your night. Talladega is the type of place that inspires dreams, Christian Snyder. Could see your name in victory lane. And, Christian's still cleaning the confetti off his uniform after last night. So it's definitely possible. Timmy Harper, he's up there in front right now. He's a guy who knows how to win at a plate track like this. But that quickly, his lead evaporates, and here comes Vincent Arthur back up into the lead.
Yeah, Vincent, I think, feels like he has something to prove after last night. He was up front late in the race. No one helped him on a late restart. Ended up finishing fourth, so he wants to go out here and win this thing. Even though he is already locked in, he still wants to win this race.
Well, anybody who is racing at a plate track like this, to me, you just get sucked up in the competitiveness of being at a track like this. It doesn't. You can say I want to ride around at the back, but if you got that fire burning in you to go up there and try and make some passes like Vincent does, there's just no way to sit back at a track like this. You got to ride that wave going forward. Christenberry really kind of got hung out to dry out there on the outside line, and he's sort of fading back here, back into 8th place. But he's got he had Ronnie Norman. Norman bails out, goes to the inside as well.
Yeah, now it's time to find the holes on the inside lane. It seems like everybody's going down there to get with their teammates, to be able to pit, because we will have green flag stops here, like I said, before the end of stage. But you can see the late Apex guys not content with the bottom. They want to go up there and lead it, so this is a resurgence of the outside lane. Ronnie jumped back up there, and now we got 5 or 6 cars working that outside lane.
Well, we've got another fan club in the house. It's Dustin Kleba's fan club. Ken Kleba checking in. And to clarify, John DeTalent is, in fact, the super proud dad. So we've got that figured out now for Tyler. But Dustin Kleba, pretty safe right now. As we see Vincent pulled down to the apron.
Oh, he didn't pull down. I think he had some help off the corner. Tim Harper gave him a little shot and got him loose, and he relegated back to there, because you are not allowed pulling down below the yellow line to give up position unless you're forced down there. So he was definitely forced by Harper, and you can see that killed the inside lane. And now late Apex trying to pull a Dale Jr. up here and be the Pied Piper and lead this thing.
Look at this. 4 cars for late Apex right now, sitting 1, 2, 3, 4. We've seen this before, Christian Snyder, here in the NORA Cup Series, and this is one very strong team. To me, it reminds me, honestly, of bicycle racing when you see teams of 7, 8 riders go up there and they're all dressed alike and they're all riding around together at the front. But this is amazing to see them form up here and lead the way. We'll have to see. It looks like the low line gaining a little bit of steam again.
Yeah, the other team that's on the bottom, though, they don't have any help from their teammates. It's Ronnie Norman and Vincent Arthur. Those two are two of the best plate racers, in my opinion, in this field. And it's no surprise to see them up here this early.
Absolutely.
Now they're jumping up to the middle lane here, it looks like. Maybe trying to side draft a little bit. Slow down that outside lane. It's a good strategy, but it's a little dangerous.
Yeah, we saw that last night. I was very fortunately joined in the booth by Ryan Patty, who's in the field tonight, of course, racing for you, Christian, at Full Send, and Hanover Fist, and we saw some side drafting go awry and unfortunately it resulted in the death of several cars out there.
Yeah, it happens. You got to be really good at it, and I tell you who's really good is Vincent Arthur. He can perfect it. I've seen it firsthand how good he can get on the quarter panel of people and slow them down. Oh man,
wow,
big moment there for Kyle Rochelle.
Very close.
Like Vincent picked up his rear tires.
Well, and now we're at lap 12, so the characteristics, the true handling characteristics of these cars is going to start to really show its head. This could be the point where some of the cars start to get a little bit loose, especially if they have to do some real acrobatics getting into and out of different lines. So we'll have to watch out for that. Of course, nice long pit row getting on and off, but that still can cause chaos when we come down to green flag pit stops eventually when that happens. So something, I mean, shoot, even yellow flag pit stops, it's easy to make mistakes coming in here. But let's keep our eyes focused here because things starting to go a little crazy. We do have the formation of a third line. It's being led by Jake Christenberry in the middle, splitting the group. He tries to get down to the low line, but he's going to ride it up to the center. Right now up 11 positions into that 5th spot.
I tell you what, on the backstretch there, that outside lane, Tom Senchek, he lost the wall. He couldn't find it, and he ended up finding it with his right side. And I can tell you firsthand, that's easy to have happen. It happened to me last night. I was pushing my teammate, and whenever you're pushing, you can't see anything in front of you unless your field of view is very wide. And I couldn't see the wall, ended up getting into it, almost caused a big one. But it's very hard pushing here because you can't see a car in front of the car you're pushing. You can't see the line in front of them. You just got to have faith in that car in front of you not to put you in a bad situation.
Absolutely, this bump drafting is easier said than done for anybody who's out there watching along. If you've not done any of this iRacing bump drafting, it's very precision, and you can't really afford to bump as much as you want to just kind of push, just lightly push. And I've heard, Christian, also, you want to make sure that you don't go too hard when you're making that bump either, because it can do damage to the front end of the car. So all things to keep in mind.
You just want to give a nice, gentle tush push to the car in front of you and get them out there. You don't want to you don't want to stay solid because it'll overheat the engine. You just want to just lightly tap them.
So Brady Motes right now had a moment just a moment ago. He was up there scraping the wall. I don't know if you were seeing it in the background, but certainly he's had a little scare as he was riding backwards on this roller coaster back to the back of the pack. Right now in 14th position for the number 15 for Ready to Wreck Racing, and of course he's one of the playoff contenders. You can see them over on the left-hand side in yellow on the tower, but it's right now everybody's just kind of lining themselves up for the stage. And of course we're looking on as some of these drivers have moved forward quite a lot. Jacob Malone was up there in the lead just a moment ago. He's now dropped down to the low line, and he's holding on to 3rd place. Cody Hyde on YouTube. There he is. For those of you who aren't yet subscribed, it's one of our YouTube streamers. And for the quality of the stream that he puts on, has a surprisingly low subscriber amount. So sometime, if you're not already subscribed to his videos, you want to make sure you check that out. Whoa, a lot of wiggling up in front from John Cottle, though.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was being pushed by Cottle last night. He is a very aggressive pusher, and sometimes it works. You know, it's working right now. Vincent Arthur has a phenomenal lead, but being an aggressive pusher like that, you can just get him in the rear end at the wrong point in the straightaway and send him around. So Vincent Arthur's got to be on pins and needles having that 6 car behind him. Big moment for Cody Height there. Good save, though. Tim Harper, he had to check up a lot there.
That was a lot of movement there. Already seeing some pit stops. That's
splitting the stage in half here. We got 36 laps in the first stage, so this is halfway. You can see the Fords, Cody Reeder, Dustin Kleba, and Brady Motes coming in.
Wow, what a decision here for these drivers to come in, and of course, very coordinated effort by them to do so. So we'll see how this pays out. But Vincent Arthur resumes in the lead. John Cottle in second. Jacob Malone in third place. Actually, scratch that. There's Malone up into first place now. That's how quickly it changes from third to first. So Modes, Reeder, and Kleba now safely off of pit lane. They've rejoined on the track. Make sure to get the track map up there so you can follow along. Now we see on our screen Malone and Chad Engel for Brian Powell Motorsports. Teammates deciding to come into the pits here and, as you said, make that stop. So I wonder if this is all pre-planned or if it's in response to the Fords deciding to come in and break this first stage apart.
Yeah, that seems pre-planned by those two, but it's not good because they only have 2 cars. So this pack is going to be running about 2 seconds a lap quicker than them, and they're going to lose a lot of ground and probably end up finishing last and next to last in this stage.
Well, that's the fun of rolling the dice. You just don't know. But we're going to watch on to see, as it's possible that they all are going to come out together with that last group that came in. And that looks like it's pretty much the case with the exception of Chad Engel, who's fallen off a little bit. Kleba, Motes, Reeder, and then Engel 2 seconds back from that group now. Everyone else still in this lead pack, and fortunately everybody else still in this race, although Peyton Tulloch has slowed down considerably, is kind of running alone sort of by himself there. But right now at the front of this one, Vincent Arthur, Kyle Rochelle for Late Apex Racing, Jake Christenberry, John Cottle. Oh, we've got this is a massive entry to the pits.
This is Late Apex and JRC Sim, as well as a couple of Flatline guys. And then Jake Christenberry, one of the only Toyotas in the field, joining the Chevys here. So I figured this was going to happen. We're going to have the Chevy-Ford alliance. All the Fords pitted together. Now all the Chevys are pitting together here, or most of the Chevys, I should say. 2 of the Toyotas are in this group, so you're going to see those alliances come in handy tonight.
This is indeed a massive pit stop cycle, but it did leave John Cottle out there by himself, Cody Height as well, Timmy Harper, Cameron Thompson, Dakota Hendrickson, Adam Kulikowski. And
here come the Fords, the rest of the Fords, I should say, and 1 Toyota with them. So that's all of Harper Motorsports, I believe.
Definitely Harper, Cody Height, Timmy Harper, Dakota Hendrickson, and Cameron Thompson, some of those drivers I was just mentioning. And now that is going to leave the top 8 still yet to pit. Kulikowski, Thomas, Gladelich, Patty, Slauson, and Henning. And Blake Hoppy, as well as Tyler DeTalent. All these drivers not yet coming into pit. So we're making our way very quickly through this race and through the first stage. And that's what, you know, I talked about it last night. There's a certain, I can't talk about it, Christian. If I talk about what the status of this race is, it's going to flip-flop, and so I can't. Those of you out there in the audience, you know what I'm talking about. I can't, if I talk about it, it'll introduce a broadcaster's curse. It might change the outcome of this race. It's like a scientific experiment. Just simply watching along will change the outcome. Todd Slauson, Kulikowski, Thomas, and Henning all into the pits, and that now leaves this foursome out here of Gladelich, Hoppy, DeTalent, and Patty.
Unfortunately, Patty, I think, missed his mark to pit, and he has lost that little group there. So unfortunate for Patty. But as a team owner, I was looking at these pit stops, My team in the Cup Series has had the most pit road penalties, so I was a little nervous watching them pit there, making sure everyone stays to the right and only 3 stalls in, 3 stalls out. It makes me nervous. But Ryan Patty going to stay out there, get some TV time there for the Caravana 84, lead a lap here. I don't think this is strategy. I think this is just hoping and praying that a caution comes out while he's in the lead.
He just wants some TV time. He was telling us how last night, how he doesn't get tense at all behind the wheel ever. He just, just cool as a cucumber. So we could probably bring him in and chat with him, and he'd probably be okay with that. We won't do that, but we could, and I'm sure he'd be okay with it. Be like, hey, Trevor, sure, hey, Christian. Everything's great out here, just running some laps at the front, just trying to get some extra TV time. Well, we're going to lap number 36 here, which is in another 12 laps or so. So there's no way that he can make it on fuel, and in fact, here he's going to pull it into the pits. Now, this is the rest of the group out there. Probably been seeing it in that track map. So we now have essentially the Chase 1 group here, and then the Chase 2 group following in quick stead back there. This group is Kleba, Reeder, Christenberry, Rochelle, Moats, and Arthur. And then a little bit further back, this is Caudle, Harper, Height, Thompson, and Bird. And now
this is really important for Kleba, Christenberry, Moats, Arthur, Caudle, and Height, because they're all capitalizing. They're in that top 10 getting some stage points at the time. So if they're able to stay here, they're able to get some points. That's going to help them tremendously going into the Roval next week.
Well, and this gap is growing to 7th place. So the longer that they don't fight with each other and don't go side by side, the more that they work with each other, the better of a chance it will be for them to walk away from this other group behind. But, it's growing pretty substantially. It's all the way up to 1.9 seconds. Very quickly growing to 2 seconds now, that gap between John Caudle and Vincent Arthur at the moment. So this group trying to set themselves up to be the stage top finishers. And of course, they won't just allow themselves to just drift over the line exactly as you see it. I'm sure there will be a fight once we get to the white lap here in this stage. Once again, hello to everybody watching us over on YouTube. Well, we have a moment. It's great to have you here, and feel free to say hello. Let us know who you're rooting on or where you're watching from. And if you're not already a subscriber, hey, this is the type of action we've got here on VirtualRacing.Network. This has been exciting. Really pretty much every race this season, but certainly last night and the night before here at Talladega. And we're just getting down to crunch time in the playoffs, so definitely want to be subscribed, and if you can, like this video. It'll get out there to more and more people, and that's how it rolls here on YouTube. Right now, we are on lap number 27. We're working our way to lap number 36 for the end of the first stage. And Dustin Kleba leads Cody Reeder, his teammate at KPR Motorsports, with Jake Christenberry, one of those drivers that needs to get in on points, sitting in 3rd place. Kyle Rochelle in 4th for Late Apex Racing. Brady Moats in 5th for Ready to Wreck Racing. And Vincent Arthur, the sole driver for Flatline Motorsports.
Real quick, I got to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
Jake Christenberry on that backstretch, he's starting to play with something. He backed off of Cody Reeder there a little bit and got back to Kyle Rochelle. He's testing those runs to see when is the right time to produce that run to get around those 2 guys in front of him. So you'll see him get up here to the bumper, but he'll back off of them on the straightaway, and then he'll wait and try to get a run and see when he can time it perfectly. So you can see he's backing up here, and then he's going to try and test when he needs to push to go into the quarter and time it right. So that wasn't the right timing. He's going to keep working on it. I love to see this. He's strategizing for that last lap of the stage to try to get the stage win.
Now, Christian, if he does make that move, will it succeed if he doesn't have somebody go with him? If he's the only driver on the outside line or the inside line, for example, and nobody backs him up, will he succeed and be able to pull both of these drivers?
It's possible if he side drafts super aggressively, but it's going to be definitely difficult by himself. But I see Brady Motes and Vincent Arthur following him if he jumps out, because they're going to want as many points in the stage as possible. But I keep seeing him back up there and try to build that run. I'd love to see it.
Certainly exciting stuff we're watching here on VirtualRacing.Network, as we're seeing multiple different strategies playing out. Some of the earlier drivers to come in doing a little bit better in the pit stop strategy. Kleba and Reeder, two of the first drivers to come in, and as a result, they are leading this race. And with just a few more laps to go until the end of stage number 1, the question is, when do you launch? I mean, I know he's trying to answer that question by doing these little tests, but I mean, do you go on the backstretch? Do you go through turns 3 and 4? It's a very long front straightaway, Christian, and I don't know when is exactly the right time to plan that move.
You got to time it perfect coming out of turn 4, I think. I think that's going to be your best time to make the move. You have enough time to the start-finish line, which is not at its usual position here at this track. It's a little on down the straightaway, making for better finishes, in my opinion. So you got to time it right. Sometimes going into the tri-oval is a little bit too late, so I think coming out of turn 4 is the perfect opportunity. We see some two-wide racing back here, late apex, trying to get around a couple of those flatline guys working together, Matthew George and Ronnie Norman down there.
Definitely, this is the third chase group, the peloton, if you will, trying to follow everyone up, and right now they're not really closing in on this second group. That gap continues to grow, and the gap between the second group and the lead group is also growing. That's all the way up to almost 4.5 seconds now between this front group of 6 and the second group there, led by Cody Height and John Cottle, as well as Cameron Thompson of Harper Motorsports.
Yeah, that third group, the reason that they're losing so much time is that they're too wide. If you're too wide, you're just losing all that speed. You're pushing more air than you should, and you're just going to not go anywhere. So they need to get that figured out, get single file, but I think it's a little too late. So if I were them, I would just drive it nice and easy. No need to risk anything, but the battle's going to be up here at front. But now you see Brady Motes and Vincent Arthur. Oh, man. Motes had a hard hit into the wall there. They tried timing the push, didn't quite work. It unsettled Brady Motes' car, and I think his right front is broken. He's got to try to get it to pit road here. Oh yeah, he's turning right to go straight. This is not good for a playoff driver, Brady Motes. Oh man, this is going to possibly put him in a must-win at the Roval.
Well, that makes it go from 6 down to 5, and that's how quick things can go wrong, just like we were talking about. I mean, everything was completely under control just a moment ago, and you see what's happened. Well, here we go. Lap number 34, we're going to 36, so, or coming up to lap number 34 here.
This is coming to get 2 to go in the stage here.
Exactly.
Pit road's going to close as soon as they hit the start-finish line.
And that is Justin Moody there at the tail end of this group, who has now joined them, but Justin Moody is not on the lead lap right now. So he's following along, hoping that he can get the wave around, which he will when everyone else pits. But right now, this is the story, this top 5 group of Kleba, Reeder, Kristen Berry, Rochelle, and Arthur. And now they are swapping positions on the backstretch.
I guess Christenberry doesn't have the broadcast up in the background. I said wait until the last lap of the stage. He already jumps up and he says, "Vincent, let's go. It's time to go." And we'll see what happens here. But it looks like Kyle Rochelle going to choose the inside, and the lap car of Moody going to choose the outside. So it's 3v3 with 1 lap to go in the stage as they cross the line here.
Well, that's an interesting call to go that early. I was expecting it to happen sort of on the backstretch or someplace like that. Now we see him starting to drift backwards, even with the help of Vincent Arthur. Is he going to be able to recover? Is he going to dip back in for a draft? No. Pulls it back out, and he's going to just try to make it, but Arthur says, no, I don't think this is the line to be in out here on the outside after all. I'm going to go back inside line, and Kristen Berry falls back in line. There goes Arthur to the front on the outside, but obviously he's not going to be able to do it by himself out there, and nobody else choosing to come out there and help him. So
here comes Kyle Rochelle trying the outside, but those teammates stuck together like glue on the inside.
Kyle Rochelle, he's going to move into second place. Kristen Berry makes his move. And Kleba with Kyle Rochelle in second place. Kristen Berry in third place and Cody Reeder in fourth. That's how they'll finish stage number 1. Pretty exciting run to the line there for these drivers. And congratulations to Dustin Kleba on securing some more points towards his playoffs in the championship. So with that, we're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Everybody will be coming into the pits, and we will be right back with a driver interview. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. So much more great racing yet to come. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. That was one very exciting first stage. It kind of had it all. A lot of different racing strategies, but one guy, he was playing with a bunch of different passing techniques, and he ended up finishing in third place. Congratulations. We got Jake Christenberry joining us live here on VirtualRacing.Network. Jake, congratulations on the third place there in the stage, and how's it feeling to you?
It feels pretty good right now. Yeah, I'm super stoked. I think we got a really good car. I think these speedway races kind of cater to, how I race, and yeah, I think we got a really good car. I'm pretty excited for the rest of this.
Well, of course, you've got your own fan club out there with Megan Beetle leading the way, joining us over in YouTube and rooting you on, but you're going to need A lot of points out there in order to get into the round of 8. How hard are you going to be pushing out there tonight to get all these stage wins or maximum points and then go for that final win?
Yeah, my plan was not to run too aggressive because I just want to be there at the end. But I also don't want to have to race my way into the next round at the Roval next week. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. You know, 1 minute you think, you know, I'll just lay back, but then you get big runs, and you're like, well, I guess I'll get up here and, you know, try to make something happen. So right now it's, you know, we'll get what's given to us. So we'll try to hang in there and just be there at the end.
Well, real quick, I want to pop in here and ask a question. I saw on the backstretch you were kind of backing up to Kyle Rochelle's bumper, kind of letting Breeder pull away. Were you trying to manifest that run and see when the right time was to make your move?
Yeah, I definitely was trying to see if it was going to happen, and it definitely could happen. I don't know, for some reason, when I get out in clean air, I can't go nowhere. Vincent was trying to push me there at the end, and it was like there was a wall in front of me. It happened earlier in the race, too. I got out in the top lane leading, and it just doesn't want to go. I don't know why, but I think I'm better off trying to be behind somebody until the end and just making the last-minute pass. But, yeah, that's what I was doing there for sure.
Well, I guess they're producing a little bit more horsepower over at Late Apex, and KPR maybe flatline than what you got going under the hood there at Prestige. Or maybe it's just the luck of the draw, and you got to plan out that procedure just like you're talking about. Either way, we're going to let you go and get back out there, Jake. Good luck to you. I'm sure all your fan club will be rooting you on here as we get into stage number 2.
Thanks, guys.
So that is Jake Christenberry joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. And Christian, stage number 1, did we learn anything that we can apply towards stage number 2?
No, not at all. It was kind of a unique stage, man. It was single file for a lot of it, and I don't think it's going to happen this time. I think it's going to be a lot of 2 and 3 wide, trying to maximize stage points. But to kind of touch on what Christenberry said, jumping out to the outside, and it was like a brick wall. If you look really closely on these cars on the windshield, there's a giant hole in the windshield, right there between the name and the Chevy logo. There's a hole there that allows the air to go through the car for the driver, but it also slows down the car because that air isn't going over the car, it's going into it and slowing it down.
Well, everybody's got that little hole in there, and sure, it makes it all real comfy. Probably only 150 degrees in that cockpit, as opposed to 180 without it. But here we go. Kyle Rochelle for Late Apex Racing, going to bring us back to the green flag here at Talladega. And if there's one thing that I think I picked up, that is maybe you do want to undercut. You want to be the first team to come in. That seemed to work out the best as far as track position last time. Here we go. Back to the green flag here on lap number 40.
We got some new faces up here toward the front. We see Todd Slauson in that Aaron's Dream Machine 55 up here. Chad Engel up in the top 12 as well. Good to see them up here. But, man, side by side already, or still, I should say, on the backstretch, and there is aggressive pushing on that outside. Vincent Arthur pushing the bumper off of Kleba right now to try to get that lead. But, man, Late Apex, they are just moving on that bottom right there.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there is a technique to getting that slingshot working, and wow, just as quickly as they went and jumped out there in the lead, here comes the outside line right back there with Kleba and Vincent in charge. And it's momentum, it's how many cars are pushing. I know multiple cars in a straight line pushing each other much faster than 2 cars pushing each other in a straight line. So timing it is important, but how much help you get from behind, and we're just going to watch on and see how these great drivers do it here in the NORA Cup Series tonight. Everybody heading down that long backstretch there, but we already have kind of a breakup in this pack. This is John Cottle, Cody Height, Timmy Harper in Harper Motorsports. And what's the strategy behind these guys dropping back so early on?
They think the same thing I think, and it's going to be a possible C word here in the stage 2, so they're trying to avoid that. and try to stay clean. So I like this strategy, but they got to stay in touch with that back car, which it looks like with them checking up, they should be able to catch the draft a little bit and stay within a half a second. That's kind of the area you want to be, is a half a second back from that lead group, so you have enough that you can build a run if you need to.
Well, up in front, though, it is Kyle Rochelle, Ryan Bird, teammates at Late Apex Racing, who appeared to have found a home up in those top two positions. We'll see whether or not anyone else can get up there and challenge them. I know Kleba right now sitting there with his teammate, Cody Reeder. And I'll tell you what, things have not exactly been 100% smooth between those two teammates. More than once, they've had some comings together on the track, and I know that it's obviously very unintentional and borderline coincidental that they just happen to be in the same place at the same time. But nevertheless, I know Reeder would love to do anything he can to help his teammate Dustin Kleba in his search for the NORA Cup Series championship. And there he is, running in fourth place, pushing his teammate forward, just trying to get the most that he can out of this stage and keep everybody on KPR Motorsports there at the front of the group.
While this is relatively calm, I just got to say, Kleba and Reeder, they were two of the first people to congratulate me last night. They're class act guys. They came over and were super excited that I was able to win and congratulated me. So those guys, those are two of the nicest guys out here in the field. But whenever it comes to race time, though, they are lights out and they are ready to go. And right now they're in position to strike at any moment.
Certainly, you don't want to tangle with certain drivers out there on the track, and I would say Reeder proving just a couple of weeks ago that he was able to take victory in NORA, but also Dustin Kleba throughout this season, since he's come back into this series, has been just a firecracker. He's been able to take result after result, multiple wins during the regular season. And, I mean, he was up there in the top end of the points, and he came in halfway through the season. So, if there's one driver that you do want to circle just on raw capability alone, it would be Dustin Kleba. Of course, he'd have to get by Vincent Arthur, who's taken 5 of the last 8. But it's amazing to see, too, how when Kleba came in and all of a sudden he started going through his wins, and we had Ryan Berg come in and get a couple of great finishes and a race win. It's amazing how Vincent Arthur then steps right back up again and decides to take it to the top. And he goes even deeper within himself to find even more capability and comes out, as I've mentioned, winning 5 of the last 8 races here in the NORA Cup Series, which is just ridiculous considering this level of competition.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at some stats last night, just having fun going through everyone's stats, and believe it or not, Kleba has the most poles in NORA. He's got the most poles, but Vincent Arthur, his win percentage after those 5 out of 8, it has gone significantly up. I think he's about 15 to 20% of the races he's been in, he's won. So 2 of the best drivers out there, and you love to see them here in NORA. And hopefully they don't go anywhere in the near future.
Well, we got some more great new faces up here, as you've mentioned. We got Jacob Malone. How about Christopher Thomas up here now in 6th place? Tom Senchek, Late Apex Racing teammate, now coming forward in a hurry. Vincent Arthur still just behind there. Now here comes Blake Timmons. First time we've seen him up here in the top 10 recently. Ronnie Norman coming forward, as is Chad Engel and Nick Geilis, and Todd Slauson for Full Send Motorsports, now kind of in the middle of everything here in 10th place. So some of these drivers really trying to fight it out and make that outside line work, but so far it's not exactly panning out the way that they would have liked here in the mid-pack.
And I should mention, for our fans that have been around since the beginning of the season, we see that number 25 out there, the Hendrick Cars scheme. We usually see Josh Conover in that, but tonight he was suspended, unable to run. And we got a new driver in that 25, Blake Hoppy. He's running for them and enjoying the opportunity for Flatline. Anytime you get to run for that team, it's an honor. I even tried to weasel my way into that 25 car this week, but they allowed Blake Hoppy to take over it, and I'm here in the booth.
That's amazing. You would run that car instead of one of your own cars, especially after what you did last night in the trucks. I find that quite amazing. You got something special. The Gnomes did something magical under the hood there for last night's race. So, don't count against the Gnomes at Full Send Motorsports. I think that's what the new slogan will be here in the NORA, at least the NORA Truck Series.
Yeah, the NORA Truck and Cup Series, the Gnomes are impressive, I tell you. They were working the cameras earlier in the season at Charlotte, I believe. We had the drone cameras controlled by them, but they crashed them.
Well, when you've got hundreds of Gnomes, I mean, you really have some different options in how you deploy them and what activities. It's best to keep them out of trouble, really.
Yeah, we still definitely need someone who makes Gnomes to sponsor VRN. So if you know anyone who makes Gnomes, contact VirtualRacing.Network.
Just in the off chance that there's someone out there making Gnomes, we'll definitely get them hooked up and sponsor this one. Cameron Thompson, he's now coming up into the top 10, and you see Vincent Arthur. I mean, Arthur's kind of fighting right now in the mid-pack to come forward. He's trying to get that outside line to work. Jacob Malone leading this group on the outside. They come down to try to get that side draft and move forward. Is it just a matter of getting that initial momentum on that outside line going? Is it like a snowball rolling downhill? Does it eventually start to work out and start pushing downhill a little faster?
Well, it depends on who the tandem is in the front of that. If they're comfortable with each other, you got to have a good pusher and a good leader. And you can see Blade Timmons not comfortable pushing Jacob Malone, so he's going to jump up and try to go outside of him, but that sends a message to Vincent Arthur that the outside is not working, so he dove down. He's going to allow Blade Timmons to get in line with him. Oh, man! Looked like Malone wanted to get in front of Peyton Tolick, not able to, and he's going to be going to the back very quick.
He sure did, and Tolick he is a lap down right now, racing with this group.
Yeah, he's trying to get his lap back, and he's in the perfect position. He's got to go through one more round of green flag pit stops, but good position to get back on the lead lap there for that number one.
That will be interesting. And, of course, for those of you who weren't with us, the last race of the regular season, poor Peyton Tulloch was right there to get into the playoffs. And, unfortunately, due to an incident right coming to the checkered flag within a couple of laps, he ended up not being able to get into those playoffs. But it's it's a crapshoot, that's for sure. You don't want to leave it. I think about this for football and baseball, etc. Why not just go out there and make it easy for yourself? Win a bunch of games, or win a bunch of races or something. Just win one race. Just go out.
Make it sound so easy.
Well, you got all these races to go out there and win. No, I mean, as far as points, etc., you look at it and you go, could I have gotten another 2 positions in this race? Was there something I could have done? And I know a lot of times if you just go and you add up all the points that you could have gotten by making this decision, that decision, certainly, it does all add up at the end of the season, and you might have finished 1 position or 2 positions higher in the championship. It's one of those things that it's easy to comment after the fact, but still, poor Peyton Tulloch basically coming to the line, not able to get into the playoffs. But how about this? Outside line works with 5 drivers. Oh my goodness, and Tom Senchek bails out of that top line as soon as he makes it to the front. He says, "Thank you very much, Jacob Malone. See you later. I'm headed down to the bottom with my teammates."
Yeah, now you leave teammates up top there, Chad Engel and Jacob Malone. And speaking of, consistency, Chad Engel, he's making his 201st start tonight.
And now
we've got 88.
We've got Vincent Arthur What number? I'm sorry, I cut
quite a
you
few
off.
cars. Chad Angle in the 88.
Yeah, he's making what number start?
201st. Believe it or not.
200
in NORA.
In NORA. That's incredible numbers.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Only
to
person
him.
with more is Conover with 254. So it's consistency that's the most important thing. You see that yellow with Chad Angle. He had every single race this season he started except for one.
Well, that is some very interesting stuff, and we have other news that Ronnie Norman making his 100th start tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah, tonight is his 100th, so he's finally hitting the triple digits. I believe only one of 8 guys in NORA that have hit 100.
And also, Christian, I believe our statistician was able to pull another very interesting number. It appears as though Ronnie Norman and you have the exact same number of wins in NORA. Is that correct? 5 wins?
Yeah, I have a few less starts than him, and I have the same number of wins, so my win percentage just slightly better, and I get to hold that over him. He pays the checks for me, and I get to hold the fact that my win percentage is just slightly better.
I'm sure he appreciates that so much, but we'll have to have it'll be very interesting to see the next time that you and him are facing off and going for the win. How about this triple tandem here of late Apex drivers in Senchek, Rochelle, and Bird, who have kind of broken away a little bit as many of these drivers now coming into the pits. Dustin Kleba, Cody Reeder, Jacob Malone, Cameron Thompson, Jake Christenberry, and Dakota Hendrickson. Now, what's interesting here, Christian, Kleba and Reeder were part of this group, Cameron Thompson, Malone as well, of Fords that came in first last time. This time they're not the first group to come in. So we'll have to see how this works out as these drivers cycle back around and get back out onto the track.
Yeah, late Apex going to come this time by, and it looks like one of the full send guys coming with him, Todd Slauson. Oh, he overshoots it. He's going to be caught speeding. I mentioned it earlier. Full send with the most pit road penalties this season, and I think there's another one there for Todd Slauson, unfortunately.
Well, it may be room in the next team meeting to say we're full send on the track for the win, not full send into the pits.
Yeah,
but I know there's a lot of.
Sometimes
on tracks there is a lot to be gained by going full send into the pits and really having a fantastic pit entry and pit exit. That's for sure. But Talladega, not one of those places because of the draft.
Yeah, you gotta kind of be conservative getting into the pits and make sure that you don't speed, you don't spin out too, because if you don't get your brake bias right, you can lock them up or possibly wheel hop. We've seen it before in real life. A lot of guys wreck coming into pit road, and luckily we haven't seen that tonight. And a good pit stop here for Christopher Thomas, the 25 of Blake Hoppy, and Chad Angle, all 3 in this lap here.
Well, and that leaves Ryan Patty for full send Motorsports to lead this group around again, as he did last time, and will be one of the last groups here to come into the pits. And of course, we are working until lap number 72. That is the end of stage number 2. So Patty, Henning, Kladelich, Cody Height, Justin Moody, Tim Harper, and John Cottle, as well.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Looking out way in the back there, Dustin Kleba and Vincent Arthur are battling for what will be the lead whenever this thing cycles out. So even though Kleba waited a little while with Reeder to pit, they're still out front. So they perfected it.
Well, it certainly comes down to looking at how much, what the lap times are. If you stay out there the extra 1 lap, 2 laps, if you're quarter of a second faster than the other group was, then certainly you'll come out in the front of the group. But as you said, Kleba now leading this group of 7 cars back up towards the front, and then behind this group, you've got to go 3 seconds behind, and then you get to Kyle Rochelle, and then another 1.5 seconds to Dakota Moniz Christopher Thomas, now part of this group back here. Cameron Thompson, Jacob Malone, Ronnie Norman, surprisingly, back in this drafting group back here, well back from that lead group. So I'm sure, you know, again, a lot of those drivers in that group very experienced, and I'm sure they're not sweating it, thinking, okay, well, the longer I survive this race, the better chance I'm going to be there at the end.
Yeah, I definitely like the strategy for Ronnie so far throughout this race. He's been just keeping his nose clean, keeping out of the 2 wide, 3 wide battles. So expect to see him toward the end working with Vincent Arthur. Like I said earlier, those two really work well together. And I know those two are very disappointed not to have the draft master out here, Josh Conover. That's what they call Josh in their group chat, is something along those lines of best pusher. So he's really bummed not to be out here, but he is spotting for them. So and that brings on another conversation of spotters, real life spotters being so important, as we see a caution on the speedway. It looks like possibly on the backstretch here.
I've got Cameron Thompson and Chad Engel possibly having a coming together. Engel, looks like that machine is still pretty much pointed in the right direction. How about Thompson's machine?
Oh,
that looks...
that does not look as good.
Not as good, but all 4 corners still on that one. So let's see if we can figure out exactly what took place here.
Let's see, Cameron Thompson being pushed by Jacob Malone here. That's not what you want to do. Oh, man.
Engel getting tapped and sent into the outside wall as Thompson, well, that's pushing gone wrong from Malone there. So let's go back and watch this one a little closer. This is on board with Jacob Malone.
Yeah, right here, the car gets unloaded and can sometimes like jump left or right because of the angle of the I can't think of the name of it, but coming off the banking, that's what I'm looking at. They get a little bit loose sometimes, and you can see that the 2 came down a little bit off of that, and Malone was just pushing away on the bumper, and that's just not what you want to do coming off of corners.
Well, and Chad Engel, if you watch here, also Engel very lucky to not get another contact right here, right there. That was, he very lucky to not get another contact, and it might have been enough to send him back towards the inside of the track. But Engel, without any power, oh, he does get it refired though. I was very worried that he had made an incidental contact, as you know, and popped that engine, which can sometimes happen in these machines. You're right. Yeah. Thompson with the right front fender off, though.
Yeah, real quick, I did mention that Chad Engel had the most starts besides Josh Conover, but along with that comes the most incident points, and he's just adding on to that tonight, unfortunately.
Well, for the group that had not yet pitted, this actually comes at a perfect time, and they're going to get a chance to come in and get their pit stops done under caution. And as a result, if everyone else decides to come in, which I'm not sure if they will, but Ryan Patty came in, got everything changed. He's going to head back out there, and very likely he will take over the lead when he resumes on the track. Cody Height in second place, Justin Moody in third, Timmy Harper in fourth place, Vincent Arthur now climbing up. So we'll see how this all shakes out when everyone comes back together here under the pace truck. But we are under caution for our first incident of the race. Christian, now look, this is no guarantee that this is going to stay this way for the rest of the race, but first of all, you did guarantee me off air that we were going to stay caution-free, so that,
I knew you were going to bring that up.
You did, I'm telling you. But also, we did make it all the way to 62 laps or so, 61 laps, 62 laps before we had a caution. So that's pretty great stuff for a place like Talladega, where you got people going for points, and so far pretty good. We'll have to see whether or not we get through the second half of this race as cleanly as we did the first.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I hate to be the one to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Last night, the first caution came out, and then it was a parade of cautions there on after, and that's kind of typical of Talladega. Well, once there's one caution, it breeds more. I think Larry McReynolds is famous for saying that. So it's definitely true, even in iRacing. Cautions breed cautions.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on how many cautions we accumulate, but right now sitting at just the one. I mean, everybody, come on, you can behave. We love this green flag racing stuff. There's so much good action out there. We don't want to. I mean, there's of course a slang term for iRacing out there called iPacing, which of course directly refers to the amount of time that's spent behind the pace car on iRacing. And in official racing, this can happen a lot. I mean, it's not just league racing where you get a lot of cautions at a track like this. People get very crazy in those official races, and certainly you end up...
Crazy's an understatement.
Insane. It's head-scratchingly psychotic at times on these official races.
You could basically describe them as ballistic missiles with no lock-on systems at all.
And it's the funniest thing because there's no way to know. You look at their iRating and it's like, oh, this guy's got 4,000 iRating, no problem. Well, next thing you know, he's weaving all over the track, and you wonder how he got the 4,000 iRating. But hey, it's a fun simulation to be a part of, and the beauty of joining a league like NORA, which, by the way, for those of you who want to get in for next season, it's never too early to be thinking about it. 2024 is going to be here before you know it. Be kicking off with Daytona in February. But
silly season already began. People jumping ship next season, switching teams, already contracts being signed. Some of these guys take it that serious that they have contracts with guys. We heard Vincent Arthur say he's contracted with Flatline until 2026. And I jokingly told him, I was like, hit me up in 2027 then, man.
Well, with that win last night, you're on somebody's radar, that's for sure. But I certainly, there's only so many spots available out there as well. So, some of the teams over in other leagues look in this direction, and seeing the quality show that goes on NORA, definitely a great chance to send in your interest. But here we go. On lap number 85, as we cross the start-finish line, we're going to get this second stage going again. And we're heading, of course, to the stage caution. I'm sorry,
it's a big opportunity for Cody Height and Kulikowski. They're up in position to get max stage points here in stage 2, so this kind of flipped the field. They were relegated to the back of the pack, and now they're in second and third.
Certainly, and we're going to lap number 72.
Oh, 3 wide, that's not going to work. This is going to be big.
We've got Christopher Thomas. No, who is involved in this one?
That was Justin Moody. Big hit for him.
Well, he appears to have continued, so let's go ahead and back this one up. We'll jump over top, and what were you just saying about cautions breeding cautions?
Yeah. It looks like Tim Harper just goes to make a third lane and net codes the 53. I mean, there was no contact, and you could see the 53 going sideways. So that was the largest net code I've seen in a while.
Indeed. I've been the recipient of about a 10-foot net code in the past with somebody from another country. So I've seen my share of net code, certainly. But let's see if we can tell from on board with Justin Moody what this one looked like. And we'll switch over to Tim Harper. Oh my goodness.
I think that was Tom Senchek that absolutely blasted him in the passenger door.
Oh, we'll
have to take a ride on board Tom Senchek, see what he saw here.
Well, we'll check out Senchek, and then we'll bring it over to Tim Harper. But this is Senchek. almost getting into... Oh, wow.
That was a big hit there for Senchek. He's got to hope that radiator is still intact.
It's like it's
it is crushed on the front.
Yeah, that is punched in just a little bit.
Oof.
Well, and while that may not end his night immediately, it's going to serve notice that he's going to have to be very wary of that headed forward. Certainly, if it'll affect him wanting to push again on other vehicles. So here, let's go ahead and watch from Tim Harper's point of view. This was that incident on the Roll Tide Alabama University football machine.
Really lucky that this one wasn't bigger. I mean, only 2 cars collected. Everyone else seemed to miss it. So really lucky that this was only 2 cars.
Certainly. And Ronnie Norman checking in and saying Roll Tide. So we know what his football allegiances lie with. I just heard somebody pop their engine on pit road. I don't know who that was. I don't know if that was...
Might have been Moody with that. Yeah, he just got out of the car. He's done.
Well, unfortunate.
He's in a must-win next week then. I believe he's in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't have him marked, but...
No, he's not. His teammate is. My mistake.
So, under caution for the second time. And, Christian, we made it 60-plus laps.
Breaking news here. Christenberry, he had an emergency and had to leave. He's off track and will be multiple laps down, but he had an emergency and had to run.
Yeah, I was wondering why we hadn't seen him. So that is unfortunate news. He was having a very good run, and certainly...
Yeah, thoughts and prayers with him. Hopefully everything's okay over there.
Definitely. And I'm sure... Megan Beadle, appreciate you checking in and the rest of the Christenberry fan club, but obviously real-life emergencies more important than sim racing for the win. So good luck to all of you folks over at the Christenberry family. Christian writing in how them Colts doing. Well, you know...
I know he's a Colts fan, so I had to take that shot at him.
I mean, that's easy. I've got a friend who's a lifelong Bears fan. How do you think...
Oh, my.
How does he even wake up in the morning? I have no idea.
I mean, he probably burned his Justin Fields jersey by now. It's good being an Eagles fan right now, I tell you that. I'm having a good year so far.
For sure. How's your FanDuel going?
Pretty good, I would say. Yeah, pretty good.
All right. Well, see, things are good with Christian Snyder right now, and that's always good.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. We're leading Talladega right now with Ryan Patty. I won last night. You know, my team's 4-0. The Phillies are in the playoffs. It's going good for me.
Look, you got Henning there in 4th place as well.
Yeah, they're both having a great run. They, used strategy, stayed out as long as they could on that last run there, flipped the field, and now they're in 1st and 4th. Can't wait to see them work together. They haven't raced together yet this season, so they're kind of meshing together and building that trust with each other, and hopefully they do good here tonight.
Well, here's a question, Christian. I know it would be unethical for you to participate, but can you bet on NORA on FanDuel?
I wish we could. If I could, my bet would be on Ryan Patty. He is determined to get a win. I heard him in the broadcast last night. He said the reason he loves racing for this team is my passion to win. Has an owner, and he's got that same passion. So I love to see him out here in the 84, and he's very passionate and wants to win here tonight.
Well, I put it out there on broadcast that you had, when you were interviewing Brendan Jenks, that you had said, yes, 2nd place. Well, you almost won. And it's like, I mean, mostly team owners are going to be like, man, all right, 2nd place, way to go. That's a great finish for us. But at, Full Send Motorsports, it's take the victory, or you might as well just not even come back to the truck.
you can ask Todd how that one feels if you're leading a race and you wreck coming out of turn 4.
Ooh.
I still haven't let him go away from that one.
Too soon. Here we go. Ryan Patty leading us back here at Talladega. Going to be just a few laps until the end of stage number 2. Right now, Patty gets a big jump here. Good enough to survive initially, but he's going to get swallowed alive as that high line starts to form. There goes Cody Height by on the high side. He's got Dustin Kleba behind him. And we've got cars in the wall.
Oh no, is that Caudle?
It is Caudle.
Yeah, that's John Caudle. He's in a must-win situation here tonight, and now he's definitely in a must-win at the Roval. Oh man.
Well, it's we've seen worse.
I think Stephen Henning was also involved in this one, seen him go down on the apron. So it started around that area with Caudle and Henning.
So once again, we talk about cautions breeding cautions, and here we go again. So let's take a look at John Caudle and see exactly what went down here for the man from Harper Motorsports.
See Tim Harper pushing Stephen Henning. We saw Henning involved in this one, so let's see. Yep, Harper just pushing really aggressive, jumps up the track and puts Caudle into the wall. Ronnie Norman collected in this one. A little bit of damage for him.
You know, Christian, it's real easy for me to sit here and you know, look at what Tim Harper just did and say that's very aggressive. I mean, is there a point where you just take your foot out of the throttle and you stop pushing?
Yeah, right here. You should already be out of the throttle, but there's a checkup in front of him, and he just taps him 3 times, gets him loose, jumps up the track, and it's on from there. So I don't think Harper saw the checkup in front of him, because you could see Kulikowski kind of get a little bit bigger, because this camera is a little bit higher. If we go onto the cockpit, you can't see Kulikowski right now. All you see is that black spoiler. See, you cannot see that car at all. So what happens here is he's right behind Henning, just no warning that there's a checkup. So not any fault that Harper had. He just couldn't check up in time for the little bit of a bobble that Kulikowski had. And, I think that should be a racing deal. I don't know how these guys are going to score it, but Tim Harper's got to be careful. If he gets too many cause cautions, he may get removed from the session, so he's got to be careful out here.
Yeah, that is the thing. You definitely want to watch out for that as everybody now comes back into the pits.
Norman has more damage than I expected. He hit the wall pretty hard there with John Caudle.
We'll have to go back and see if we can review that as well, because that is a pretty important driver being in the playoffs in Ronnie Norman. This is from On Board with Norman coming to the line, or coming to the incident, and there's Caudle on the outside. It almost looked like, as others were slowing up, Norman thought, oh, here's my opportunity. I'll just bail out and go to the outside and start passing some of these guys. But it was
wrong
not
place, wrong time.
Yeah, it was not business as usual.
I'm waiting for a message in chat from him and kind of explain what happened there. But I think he's not willing to chat right now. He's not happy.
Certainly not. So with that, we're gonna take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We will be right back in a moment. Stay tuned. Don't want to go anywhere. Conclusion of stage number 2 coming up here in just a moment. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. The one guy who decided to stay out there, Blake Hoppy, in the Josh Conover machine, the number 25, very synonymous with Josh. It was so funny, on Sunday somebody was running that same scheme and we're like, is that Josh? But nope. In fact, this HendrickCars.com is available on Trading Paint so others can use it. But Blake Hoppy going to be running right now, and for Flatline Motorsports, leading the pack. Ryan Bird right there, Vincent Arthur, Ryan Patty still in this mix.
Is that Chad Angle in the third position on that inside lane?
He is right there, 5th position overall for Brian Powell Motorsports. I must have gotten that thing fixed up and back out there.
He must have borrowed some gnomes from Full Send for Brian Powell Motorsports. I know he raced for us last night, so maybe he stole them last night.
You know he did, in fact. So here we go. Hoppy in front, Arthur in second. Well, scratch that. Ryan Bird in second now as they continue to swap positions.
Patty is shoving Bird really far out into the lead. He cleared, I believe, all 3. Yeah, well, oh, we got a car spinning down the backstretch there. Couldn't see who that was. Possibly Kulikowski?
It would appear to be Kulikowski.
No caution for this, and we're going to have a caution here in a few laps as we're coming to the stage. And it's getting racy up front here. We'll take a look at what happened to Kulikowski at the stage break, but up front we see single file.
The stage was at 72, so we're at 74, so I guess that was the end of the stage, covered up by the fact that it was a caution, so...
Well, that changes everything. Kulikowski, he's hoping for a caution now. But surprisingly, single file.
I guess that's why everybody decided to pit when they did under that caution, taking advantage of that. But of course, we're not alerted to that, so that everybody out there watching on YouTube, we have no idea, other than a guesstimate, unless somebody sends us a note from admin. We're not electronically notified in any way when the stages are officially called or not. So
yeah, and we kind of forget the numbers whenever it's not an even number. 72 is kind of hard to remember. I thought it was 75. So
all this math. Hey, we're broadcasters. We're racers. We quit math and go out there and turn a wrench. Anyway, Ryan Bird is now in the lead. So then are we looking at a fuel save situation? Is that why everybody's dropped to single file?
It's not necessarily a fuel save situation. These guys are going to have to pit no matter what. But they're going to pit with about probably 25 to go. I think that's when you're going to be able to make it the rest of the way, so you're going to save a little bit. Actually, you probably have to save a lot. This might be 2 stops to make it to the end. I'm not sure exactly on fuel number. If someone who's not in the race currently can inform us, message me on Discord, let us know how much the fuel is and how much you can get, but we'll have to find out if these guys have to pit.
I'm thinking Josh might know, and he's, as you said, he's spotting tonight, so he might be able to get us that answer. But this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out to the end of the race. Ryan Bird, Ryan Patty, Blake Hoppy, Vincent Arthur, and Dakota Hendrickson. That is your top 5 at the moment. Hendrickson up there for Capital Motor Club. And you can see just behind, there's Todd Slauson for Full Send Motorsports. And then the first of the rest of the late Apex team, there's Kyle Rochelle, who's made it into 7th place.
Oh, Kyle Rochelle got underneath Todd Slauson. He left a little bit of a hole there, and now Slauson trying to fill it, but I think he's going to go around. Oh, save it. Yeah, he left just a little bit of a gap there for Kyle Rochelle. If we go back real quick and see this, he left a tiny gap and Rochelle filled it. He tried going down and almost went around, and then ends up going around off of someone else's bumper, but saves it.
Well, he did manage to save it. Easier said than done to go back, though. And we do have a yellow flag, as Brady Motes, I believe. There
Chad Angle.
Well,
I believe that was Chad Engel there.
I had a off track from Brady Moats, and now I see Chad Engel sitting sideways. Cameron Thompson also involved.
Oh, yeah, significant damage there to the front end of the 2 Keystone Light car. And that is not what you want to see at this type of track. I mean, he might be good in the draft as long as he's tucked into a group, but definitely not what you want to see. Let's see what happens here to Chad Engel. We can see he's coming up on, I believe that's Cody Height. He drifts up the track a little bit. Nick Gillis gets into the left rear quarter panel of him, and it's on from there. Brady Moats with significant damage to that front end. I don't think that's anything Nick really did. He saw that Chad moved up and thought he was going to the outside lane, went to fill the position. Chad came back down and kind of met in the middle here. So there you go. Chad goes up. Nick comes up, turns him. Oh, man. I don't know who that was to the left of Brady Moats, but significant contact. It might have been Cameron Thompson. I think that was where he got his damage, but he lifted Chad Engel clear into the air.
Watch on board now from Thompson.
Oh, it was Cody Reeder in the 85.
Oh, no. Indeed, it was, as he's now back in 25th position. Check this out from Reeder's point of view here.
Oh, there's nothing he could do. Does a good job avoiding Cameron Thompson, but unfortunately not a good job of avoiding Chad Engel.
Well, rough go of it for these drivers. And it's amazing, Christian, how things have changed since we had that first caution around lap number 61. We now had 4 more in the span of about 15 laps. So
yeah, and I was just made aware from Josh Conover that it's about 20.8 laps on fuel. So I would say between 20 to 22, depending on how much you're able to save. So these guys are not good to the end. The ones who pitted just now, they will have to pit again. We got about 33, 34 laps left. So they're going to have to split this thing in half.
Well, I think, though, that where things were at before with that last caution, people were thinking, okay, if this goes green until the end, which we had 60 laps of green flag racing until we hit our first incident caution, but if it did go green until the end, then it would make it just one more stop, and they were going to have to really be conserving fuel to get there. So it's possible that they were trying to save a little bit of fuel just to make sure that they made it. And I mean, again, we're not looking at the fuel numbers that they were looking at the time, but that's the way it appears to me. So now where it's at, they will still have to stop again, but there will be no fuel concern. So I would not be surprised to see them resume 2-wide racing going forward at this point.
Yeah, they'll have to pit again with about 20 to go, so expect some pit stops at around lap 93, 94 area to make it to the end. We might see them at 95 at the latest, just to make sure that they have enough for maybe a green-white checkered. But yeah, I think we'll see single file for a little bit until those green flag stops, but then it'll resume 2-wide action once everyone cycles out.
Well, Ryan Bird about to lead us back to the green flag once again. Take a momentary break. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Thanks for sticking with us here through the commercial break. And we're just about to come back to the green flag. It's going to be Ryan Bird and Blake Hoppe, your top two cars there leading the pack back to the green flag. And now we're also seeing a couple of new faces up here in the top 10. Tyler D. Talent is now up into the top 10 as well. Dakota Hendrickson now in 6th place, so could it be their night here on VirtualRacing.Network to grab a big W?
Yeah, in his debut, he's out here in the top 10, but man, a big moment there for the 25 of Blake Hoppe, and now you can see Todd Slauson. He's being aggressive. He's making that third lane. He's wanting people to get up there. You can see Nick Geilis going up to the top. Let's see if anyone joins him. I know Todd, he doesn't have anything to lose, so he wants to be aggressive as possible and get that win. He's had about 180 starts in NORA with no wins.
Well, he's doing something aggressive. He's aggressively going backwards at this point. But right now, back to 16th place. He was up there in the top 10 and continues to march backwards. See Tim Harper there on the inside. Cody Height just up in front. But so far, no problems for Ryan Bird, who has
here we go.
had a fantastic run of it so far. Well, Ryan Patty pushing on the back of Ryan Bird at the moment. Now on that outside line. Yeah, I was just going to say that outside line is starting to come on strong. There comes Malone, along with Bird's teammate Tom Senchek.
I think Senchek, what he's going to do is try to push Malone out in front of Bird, and then he's going to drop down in front of him like they did earlier to get to working together. Because those late Apex guys, like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, they work so well together, especially at this style of track. See a third lane forming there. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Todd Slauson again. And it is, in fact, Todd Slauson.
It's just Todd. Todd out there trying to hold his own, hoping somebody will join him. And he marches all the way to the back of the field, so perhaps that's what he wanted to do. Wait this one out at the back, take a card out of Christian Snyder's playbook.
Now Cody Reeder trying up at the third lane there as well, so they're trying to make it work. They want people to go up there, but no one's willing yet because we still have that green flag stop here in about 10 laps or so.
I think we'll see that third lane form, but I think it's going to come after that stop is done and people really start. It's, you know, only in rush hour do all the lanes on the freeway get utilized. Until then, it's, you know, everybody just kind of spread out and kind of go in between the different lanes, etc. But once you get to rush hour, it's bumper to bumper in all of the lanes. And
look at Reeder.
Reeder trying to go sailing on by on the high line, but again, he's going to meet that brick wall unless he can time it just right and get some side drafting in.
But he's got help now. Oh, man, the 25, that was a risky move, cutting down in front of Malone like that, but they were able to make it work. And now move Blake Hoppe and Tom Senchek to the front, and now Vincent Arthur leading that middle lane there. Got now 3 cars trying to make that outside lane work. I would love to see 3 wide here. We saw it last night. Can't wait to see it again, but everyone's spreading out there toward the front. 6 or 7 car breakaway on the bottom.
Tell you what, Patty's moving around a lot in that machine. And now we have a solid third line forming a little bit further back.
Yeah, but everyone broke off of that middle lane, so they're not as strong anymore. So that outside lane isn't strong either, because they're not getting the draft help from the middle lane. You can see Cody Reeder gave up on that outside lane, but now Vincent Arthur with a aggressive block, and now big one here. Matthew George involved, Chad Engel again involved, Cody Reeder, Ronnie Norman, big hit to the inside wall. Oh, man.
Cameron Thompson, looks like Brady Moats. There's Nick Geilis, Christopher Thomas. Looks like...
Geilis is doing donuts. There we go. Get back. There you go. He's got that World Rallycross paint scheme, so he thought he was on dirt there for a second.
You know who else was involved? This guy, championship playoff contender Matthew George, involved in that one. So, well, it's time to do what we do best here on VirtualRacing.Network, and that's go back and review. I'm not sure. It says that possibly Dustin Kleba was involved as well. I'm not sure that that's accurate.
Yeah, this thing started with Matthew George. He was the first one that I saw going around, so I don't know how it started, but maybe someone came down into him. Oh boy, I see Tim Harper who is outside. That scares me. Oh, it wasn't Harper this time.
It was Kleba up in front.
Yeah, you got a bump from Kyle Rochelle and sent Kleba to the apron, and everyone overreacted, and it was on from there. A melee happened.
Man, did that one just go badly very quickly. Let's see about Dustin Kleba. Now, Kleba did manage to recover, and he stayed back in 15th position. What happened to Kleba?
Yeah, he saves this. This is incredible. There's a checkup in front of him.
Oh.
And Rochelle gives him a tap, and he does an amazing job at saving it. Almost gets hit by... Oh, he got hit by Norman there. But he's able to keep it righted, which is incredible.
This will be on board with Kleba this time. This is what he saw from on board.
Yeah, Rochelle, it's another situation where you can't see that checkup in front of you. You have to have someone yelling on your radio, hey, check up in front of you, check up, and he didn't get that memo, and it's on from there. That's the benefit of having a live spotter, because the iRacing spotter isn't aware enough to tell you to check up for a guy getting loose in front of you. So, unfortunately, this one collects a lot of guys. Norman almost made it through and just got tagged right at the last second.
Manages to avoid too much damage on that inside wall, though.
Yeah, he can't catch a break at these type of tracks. He usually gets involved no matter what strategy he uses, and I feel bad for him. I was hoping that he had a good run tonight, but he's been involved in 2 wrecks. Chad Angle as well involved in this one, and here's Matthew George. He had a big hit. Right there. Driver's side into the wall, and then he's not holding the brakes, rolls the whole way down the track. Rough go of it there for Matthew George, and he was doing the right thing. He was surviving all race, and he was up there late, and just unfortunately a big move by Vincent Arthur sets off a chain reaction on the inside lane, and everyone has a melee, and nowhere for Guileless to go. Cody Reeder involved. Man, this was the big one. I think this is the most cars we've seen involved in a wreck, and
well, we started...
The other ones, I was going to say, the other ones you mentioned, you said it was just 1 or 2 guys just having a little incident, but this one was half the field.
Well, we started 30, and we've still got 23 on the lead lap. Actually, make that 24 with Matthew George, 25 with Cody Reeder. Is that right? Yeah, 25 with Cody Reeder. They just beat the field coming back to the line, so... This is Tom Senchek, and you can see where he's at, just now going over the line. So really great pit stop work by that team over there with Matthew George and Nick Eilis getting service, as well Cody Reeder staying on that lead lap. But Cameron Thompson officially off the lead lap. Brady Motes now a couple of laps down, and Ronnie Norman, unfortunately, he has, I believe, decided to park it after that incident, and he's a championship driver, so we'll have to see. Maybe you'll be able to dig into that and find out, Christian, but he might decide to take a few more laps around, especially with the number of cautions that we have been seeing here tonight recently. So that'll be interesting to see if he can get some more points and still be able to fight towards that championship. But this was moving along quite swiftly until about lap 60 something, and then it all kind of came off the rails. We have had caution after caution since then, and it's kind of, I mean, I can't believe that it has turned into this, because it was so clean until this point, and it looked like it might stay clean after the first caution, but now we find ourselves in a loop of these yellow flag situations.
Well, I can't share exactly what Ronnie said to me. I messaged him to see if his engine was still good.
Would it be like bleep, 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 bleep?
It would be, yes, a lot of bleeping, but he did say engine's still running, so we're going to go for it, is basically what he said.
Okay.
The PG version of it.
PG version, sure. Well, keeping it family friendly out there. I'm sure you all support it. And Brian Powell checking in, rooting on Brian Powell Motorsports. We appreciate that. John, the talent, let the games begin. Indeed. Well, you know how it goes, John. This is the lull before the storm. And Tom Senchek gets going again. Christian, I mean, you know it. Sooner or later, the grenade, the pin comes out of the grenade, and it is go time. And we're going to see the showdown to the end of this race.
It already has. The grenade has set off the first domino, and now the dominoes are just falling in line. But I tell you what, the talent is having a good run in his debut. I saw John's message in our YouTube chat. He's having a good run in his debut. He's still got a clean car. I hope I didn't jinx it.
Well, they're moving to the high side. Oh my goodness, what a move there for...
Elevator move is what they call that.
Absolutely, for Blake Hoppy doing the elevator move and sending Jacob Malone out the back. There he is running backwards at this point, but that was an incredible move for him.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that has the reputation in the league already at this discipline of track. That he's an aggressive pusher. He makes it 3 wide every chance he gets. He doesn't really help anybody, so no one wants to help him. And once you make your first impression, it's hard to get back the trust of your fellow drivers.
First impressions are everything. So Senchek leading, Ryan Bird, his teammate, there in second place. Ryan Patty in third. You see that other late Apex teammates now on that outside lane starting to work together and come forward. This is some incredible teamwork we've seen out of late Apex, and we talked to them I believe it was the last race where they got so many cars up into the top 5, and just asking about the quality of their teamwork, and they are very excited within their organization about how well they work together. And I mean, tonight, when you look at this type of a track at Talladega, this is the place where really teams can work the best together, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Late Apex Racing now basically coming together at the front and just about to sort of own the front of this one, but they're going to have to work around this lap car here.
Yeah, here comes Norman. Everyone going to be late moving up here. Norman still has a car that's got, some power in it, so he's going to try to let them all come down here, and he's going to catch on to the draft so that he can try to get a lap or 2 back. We've seen Denny Hamlin do this in real life. Whenever everyone's passing him, he says, "You're going to have to go by me on the outside and let me join this group."
Well, Christian, 1st through 4th is late Apex, but actually I take that back. How about this guy? Where did he come from? How did he get back into this top 5? Todd Slauson and the number 55 Aaron's Dream Machine now doing some very heavy-duty pushing on the back end there of Rochelle. No, excuse me, a Bird.
He's very hungry for a win. I would borderline he's starving for one. And with that, it comes aggression, and he told me he's going to be as aggressive as it takes to try to get a win here tonight. And he's being aggressive out there, but he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to make too many enemies out there.
Well, if he was starving, he should have brought the Little Caesars car.
He's renting the fridge. You can rent a fridge and fill it with all of the Little Caesars.
There you go. Well, it's an empty fridge right now, and he needs something to fill it up. And he is working on trying to get that win here. And, I mean, it's also within the organization at full send. I mean, you've now taken a win. Just the night before, Brendan Jenks for Full Send in Icon taking second place. I mean, at some point, the rest of the teammates say, okay, you know, it's like my turn now to at least get a podium. If not, try to get one of those wins as well, take some of this pressure off. So there's not really a hot seat situation right now over at Full Send, but there could be with some new drivers coming in. So we'll see, but either way, it would be nice in one of these final races of the season for somebody like Todd Slauson to be able to take that victory. And right now, he's still sitting in the top 10. But
well, he's got help behind him there. Oh, we got a moment here. Stephen Henning off the pace onto the apron there. But I was about to mention that Chad Engel, he was teammates with Todd Slauson last night. So he's right there behind him, working with him here in the Cup Series, even though he's not a teammate.
That is quite interesting. And, you know, everybody moves around a little bit, race to race. Dakota Moniz for late Apex Racing now taking over second place, and Blake Hoppy now getting into third on that outside line, leading that one forward. So this continues to change every single lap, and just like that, we're under 20 laps to go here, which of course brings up our 20 to go segment, sponsored by Snyder Graphics. That's right, facebook.com/Snyder Graphics. If you're looking for an awesome paint scheme, you need to look no further than facebook.com/Snyder Graphics. You want one for your cup car, your truck, your late model, shoot, your Formula V. He can do them all over at Snyder Graphics. Very reasonable prices, very affordable, and very quick work done. Make sure to look them up, facebook.com/Snyder Graphics.
Look at this, Blake Hoppy now in the lead with the 4 late Apex cars behind him on that bottom lane here. And now Todd Slauson leading that outside lane as we got a car in the wall. I think that was Tim Harper.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Harper off the pace.
Harper does seem to be off the pace and falling backwards quickly, now back into 18th position. What that's done is it's allowed, we go back up to the front. How about Todd Slauson momentarily taking over the lead once again?
Yeah, these two worked really well together last night, and they're proving it again here. But green flag pit stops have begun. Just a couple of cars coming in there. It looked like Senchek was actually the only car to come in there.
Yeah, that's very interesting to see Senchek come in by himself. That's actually really going to cost him. I'm not sure if that was a miscue, thinking that his other teammates would be coming in. But as you said, everybody going to need to come in for green flag stops. So let's watch and see what happens here as everybody does.
Yeah, those are the two hungriest guys for wins. Todd messaged me and was joking, me and Chad are the only people over 150 starts with 0 wins. So they're really hungry.
Well, and to put that into perspective, if you did 150 official races without any wins, that would be kind of surprising. I know there are many different drivers of different skill levels, but when you get into league racing, it's a whole different deal. These are not 800 iRating drivers out here. I mean, you're looking at Dustin Kleba, 4,300 iRating, Ryan Bird 3,800, Timmy Harper 3,800. I can just keep going down through the field. Cody Reeder 4,200, Vincent Arthur 5,200, Blade Timmons 4,600. These are some seriously competitive drivers out there that, to be fair, iRating isn't even the best way to measure them, because honestly, once you start in on league racing, you kind of cut down on your official racing, so you don't get as much iRacing time, as much official racing time. And so, you know, it's not the best way to actually measure the talent level, but just the fact that they've been able to level themselves on iRacing as far as they have just speaks volumes about the level of competition here in NORA. As you see, Dakota Hendrickson moving down to the inside line on the backstretch as we're at 15 laps to go.
Ronnie Norman going to take his lead lap back on the track. He's not even going to get a lucky dog. He's back onto, I believe, 1 lap down now. He was 2. Ryan Patty pushed him the entire way from the back of this pack the whole way up to the front of it. And even though Patty's the second car there, that makes him the leader right now.
Well, that is some crazy stuff. And now Ronnie Norman, he's going to be hoping for a caution so that he can circle back around and catch back up to this group. But how about that crew over at the number 33 Flatline stable?
He's 12 laps down. My goodness.
Yeah, he's a lot
he's
further
out of contention.
down. But still, Flatline getting that car back out there and somewhat capable of running around, and certainly he'll do his best from this point on to capitalize on anyone else who manages to fall out of the race. Patty, though, as you said, is the official leader, despite Norman being in front of this group. 14 laps remaining, coming down to the 10 to go here very shortly. Pliba in second, Gladelich in third. Where the heck did Gladelich come from? We haven't even been talking about him tonight.
He's the new Matthew George when it comes to this. He comes out of nowhere in this style of racing, and he's up in the top 10 every single time. He ran for me in Icon, and he did a really good job. He finished top 10. So he's out here running for, I believe, JRC Sim, and having a great run right now, sitting in third place.
Well, he's just up the road for me in Georgia as well. So right now...
Ooh, Cody Height. Aggressive move in front of, I believe that's Dakota Hendrickson.
Yes, right in front of Dakota Hendrickson. Everybody kind of going single file here as we're still waiting for a number of these drivers to come in for that final pit stop, and I guess they're holding out as long as they can. But you see how everything has circled back around there at the top, and I'm thinking that because this is the biggest pack, this is the pack that you would want to be in terms of staying out there to make your stop. So if we're looking at lap times at the very front of this, we're looking at 51.0, 51.5. If we pull up these drivers who, let's say Senchek, who made his stop.
He's right in front of these guys.
53.48. So definitely not the best choice to come in right now and be out there by yourself. Not sure exactly what was going on there with Senchek, but that's a rough decision by him to have to do that. But recovering now.
I think Ryan Patty said it best last night. What these guys are doing right now, they're going to each other's team saying, hey, when you pitting, when do you want to pit? Should we pit together? What lap? They're communicating as much as they can to try to get with a big group so they can benefit the best on these green flag pit stops.
Well, we saw all the Fords pit together, not necessarily the same team before. We might see the same sort of manufacturer breakdown here. We might just see several of the teams that work together. Certainly Flatline and JRC would be in communication with one another and planning their moves. Wow, big move there from Dustin Kleba coming around the outside.
Yeah, that's because there was a checkup. Senchek was on the bottom lane, and Patty decided to allow him to get in front of him, possibly saving some fuel, but I doubt you can make it the whole way. I was told that it's only about 21 laps on fuel, so these guys are basically on fumes at this point. Probably about maybe 3 laps away from green flag pit stops, I would say.
Well, it's all going to come down to this. We're now under 10 laps to go. Double high fives last time by at the start-finish line from Barney the Flagman, and it's mostly single file. Dustin Kleba, though, trying to push on the back door of Todd Slauson to come forward.
It's actually Ronnie Norman up there on the top now. Slauson kind of wanted to go up there, but he chose not to. But Norman trying to get back at least one of his laps, but he's also out there to kind of help because his car is really, it looks fine. So he's doing a really good job over there with the Flatline crew to get that car to tip-top shape.
You sure they didn't borrow any gnomes?
At this point, I think the entire league is borrowing them.
They just pretty much come and go where they please on pit road. Whoever offers them the most chocolate bars is pretty much got them in their stable. Here we go. We're lining up for the end of this one. Ryan Patty is in the lead. That's Tom Senchek of Late Apex Racing, who is a lap, just coming to a lap down. He's trying to stay on that lead lap, but he's leading the group now. You can see just behind that's Jacob Gladelich in second place, Dustin Kleba in third, Todd Slauson in fourth. So 2 Full Send Motorsports teammates in the top 10 as they go flashing by. Matthew George there on the outside, trying to drive his best recovery effort and get as many points as possible for that championship run. Christian, 8 laps to go. Where do you want to be? When do you make your move? Do you want to be leading this one, coming to the white flag? What's the plan if you're Christian Snyder right now?
Person in second and third probably has the best shot. With 1 to go, I was in 5th place, and I was able to get the win last night. So it could be anywhere. I mean, if you're good enough to lead this race and block lanes, and be able to hold the pushes that come, then leading's best. If you're able to time a good run, second's best. But I think these guys have to pit, but I at this point I don't know anymore. So these guys might be good to the end.
I mean, they came in on lap 86 and 87. I
was told 21 laps.
If 21 laps is it, I mean, we're going to be seeing them in the next couple of laps. So here's another question. No tires?
Yeah, no tires, just a splash of fuel. As quick as you can get in and out of your box, that is what you're going to have to do. But you can see another lap car here. He's going to take the bottom, and he's going to try to stay on the lead lap. That's Adam Kulikowski, playoff driver. I believe that's for the lead lap. Possibly. It is.
Yeah, Kulikowski trying to stay on that lead lap, but not so successful. He's going to slot back in line there. Ryan Patty, your leader, following around behind. Late Apex's Tom Senchek, Todd Slauson in second, Cody Hyde in third, Jacob Gladelich fourth, Dustin Kleba in fifth.
Oh, here we go. Movement on the outside. Blake Hoppy and Christopher Thomas making the outside work. He's got Peyton Tulloch and Tyler DeTalent behind him here. Chad Engel on the bottom, almost slides up into DeTalent. Look at the run Blake Hopp has. Maybe he thinks he's saved enough fuel to the end. Now he's going for the front. Going to come to 5 to go here.
It's a good side draft off of Patty. Now kind of stalling out a little bit as he gets up to Kulikowski and starts to fall backwards as he hits that wall of air. So 5 to go. Last time, and very aggressive, going for everything here. Blake Hoppy trying to get this win just as much as anyone else in this field. But Ryan Patty also would love to send home a win to Full Send Motorsports, make it 2 in a row here at Talladega.
He's got his teammate behind him now. Jacob Gladelich was sent back a couple positions. So now Todd Slauson, very good pusher for Patty. He's right behind him.
This is where the battle is right now. Ignore the first 2 cars in this group. It's all about Blake Hoppy and Ryan Patty battling it out side by side with 4 laps to go. And if you're Hoppy, you're on the outside, you've got to get to pit road here in the next lap or so. I mean, this is dangerous territory.
These guys save fuel. I mean, I'm shocked at this point that they haven't pit yet. So maybe Josh gave a little bit of a typo. Maybe he said 30.8. Meant to say that. Because if that's the case, these guys are good.
Well, we should get a new source of information.
I know.
That was Josh, not reliable.
I think he typoed it.
Either way, we'll watch on and see what happens. 4 laps to go. We're going to assume from this point onwards that nobody's coming in for a pit stop and that they're good to go until the end. They're racing very hard. Under 3 laps, if they were going to try to make it on fuel right now, they might be just trying to pedal it the rest of the way. but I'm not seeing that. I am seeing somebody blinking out a little bit there in the back. Blake Hoppy, though, now takes a big slingshot down the outside.
Yeah, he's trying to catch the draft of Matthew George. Now he's going to come back down the track here, but he lost all of his help from Peyton Tulloch now, and that's going to probably give Ryan Patty the lead here on the inside lane as Peyton Tulloch's trying to get back up to him here. Cody Height in a good position. He's in 4th place. It looks like
we do have
pit stops.
A couple
here we go.
of drivers needing to come in and make their pit stops. That's Todd Slauson and Adam Kulikowski, as well as Christopher Thomas. Two of your drivers
here, though,
unfortunately, from full send. Now the question is, who else is close?
Yeah, who saved enough? Let's see, because Patty has been leading that bottom lane as far as the lead lap guys, but he's been behind lap cars just saving his fuel. And I tell you who hasn't, Blake Hopp. He's been leading this outside lane, so he's probably closest on fuel. Now you see Vincent Arthur and Blade Timmons out of nowhere coming into the middle. Here he goes into the back of Blake Hopp. Oh my. Vincent with a big run. It goes nowhere, though. He's going to fall back. Coming to the white flag here.
Peyton
Ryan Patty to the lead. Cody Height in second.
Peyton Tulloch holding that outside line, and get ready to go. This is coming to the line. White flag is out. We're going to see this one finish. It's Ryan Patty and Cody Height on YouTube. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, shown in second place. Blake Hoppy.
Look at this.
In here, 3 wide, 4 rows deep.
The talent in his debut taking the lead here. We see a car go off. That was Blake Hoppy.
Blake Hoppy into the inside wall.
Oh, the talent around.
We've
They're
got
all wrecking.
Multiple cars wrecking.
Patty gets through it clean. Blade Timmons as well.
Several cars involved. Blade Timmons
takes the lead.
Patty's
out of fuel.
They're still wrecking. Dakota Moniz now is going to come through in second.
Patty's out of fuel.
Patty's out of fuel, but he'll try to coast to the line. It is. Is it going to be Blade Timmons?
Oh, he's out. Blade Timmons is out. Here comes Moniz.
Moniz out of nowhere. Does he steal the win? He does.
He does. Oh, my goodness.
Dakota Moniz. Unbelievable fuel save. He ends up stealing victory when others run out of fuel and crash in front of him.
Trevor, have you ever seen a crazier finish than that one?
I mean, we've seen some insane ones here in the NORA Cup Series this season, but nothing quite like that. That's a new one for the books. Vincent
we have
Arthur.
to go back and take a look at. There was a huge crash. Started with the talent who amazingly got into the lead, but ran out of fuel. You can see he's just coasting there. I think he was the first one to run out of fuel, and that caused the wreck. But we'll have to take a look and see exactly what caused that massive crash on the backstretch.
Well, we'll go back here and we'll take a look at it from the white flag. And we'll just send it around. It's only 50 seconds a lap here, so try to take this one over the top in our chopper cam. We're focused on Tyler DeTalent right now. And that 17
it starts
machine.
with him going sideways on the backstretch, but look at the run he got from Jacob Malone pushing him. What a move to the outside. Oh, you can see Blade Timmons went low there. Oh, the melee started there. Nick Geilis sends Blake Hoppy around. Oh, Malone went for a gap that wasn't there and turns the talent into the wall, and it sends it on from there. Cody Height collected in that one. Looked like Kyle Rochelle was in it.
So, in the meantime, here's Dakota Moniz. He's still well back of this group, but he sees that they've run out, and he splits the middle.
Man. Wow.
Unbelievable, as he splits the middle, coming to the line, and there was the checkered flag right there. That is just some phenomenal stuff. If we bring it to a stop and we back it up, this is just insanity. But there he finds the checkered flag by just the narrowest of margins. And Vincent Arthur now reporting in over in YouTube. If that wreck hadn't happened, I would have been good to go on fuel. So what an amazing finish, and everybody out of fuel by the very end. And so we get no victory donuts there, but we're going to pull up the final results for you here on VirtualRacing.Network. And we will be right back with the full results, as well as a chance to chat with our top 3 finishers. You won't want to miss that. By the way, if you're not already subscribed here on VirtualRacing.Network, you want to be subscribed. You won't miss any of this great action that we have going on here on the network. And also like this race as well. We'll make sure we get it out there to lots more fans of sim racing. Stay tuned for just a moment. We'll be right back with your final results and victory lane discussion. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it right here as Dakota Moniz splits Timmy Harper and Blade Timmons coming to the line, and Moniz ends up taking the win. Just unbelievable fashion, and what more can be said about that last lap? But congratulations to him. Blade Timmons taking second place. Third place going to Timmy Harper. None of these drivers championship contenders. Ryan Patty also taking fourth place. Clayton Tulloch there in fifth. Vincent Arthur, your first championship contender, and he was already locked into the next round of the playoffs. So Tyler DeTalent in his it's not his debut. I think he was here. Wasn't he here last week, Christian?
No. I believe this was his debut.
So then this was his debut. So congratulations to him, not only getting a top 10, but boy, he was looking possibly good for a win. And so sorry to hear about that, John. Certainly your words are echoed up here as well. That was some finish. But that's why you got to keep coming back and going after more of these wins here in NORA. Jacob Gladelich in 8th place. He had a good run going out there. Todd Slauson in 9th. Chad Engel taking 10th place. He is the first driver besides Vincent Arthur who is already locked in to get a finish, and as a result, he'll get the most points of anybody in that playoff-bound championship group. So Dustin Kleba taking 11th place. Cody Reeder in 12th. John Cottle in 13th, Cody Height in 14th, Kyle Rochelle 15th, Ryan Bird takes 16th place, Blake Hoppy after all of that ends up in 17th place, 18th to Jacob Malone, 19th Dakota Hendrickson, 20th Stephen Henning, 21st Tom Senchek, 22nd Adam Kulikowski, 23rd Nick Geilis, 24th Christopher Thomas, 25th Matthew George, 26th Brady Moats, 27th, Ronnie Norman. 28th, Cameron Thompson. 29th, Justin Moody. And your final runner out there, Jake Christenberry. So with that, Christian, hey, this was one heck of a race. I mean, it had everything. And unfortunately for yourself over at Full Send, it also had a couple of drivers running in the top 5 there on the very last lap. But they didn't end up winning. What can you even say about a race like this?
Ryan Patty, he messaged me right after the finish, and he said, if only I had half a lap more of fuel. He ran out going into 3. So he's disappointed, but he was able to somehow coast around to get 4th. But, yeah, it's unfortunate for my team to not go back-to-back and sweep Talladega, but this was, I gotta say, one of the wildest finishes I've ever had the pleasure of calling. I mean, Dakota Moniz, I don't know how he got through that entire pack in front of him to get the win.
You gotta just see this on the backstretch here.
It's just nothing but cars wrecking everywhere in front of him. Then he gets on the apron here. Let's see what happens here. Ryan Patty's out of fuel. He moves up the track to avoid it. gets into Malone, and then you can see up ahead, he's like, oh, well, at this point, I'm just going to finish second. But then panic sets in up front because he runs out of fuel, and here comes Moniz, takes it from Blade Timmons. Insane.
What an absolutely insane finish there for Dakota Moniz. So with that, let's go ahead and bring in Timmy Harper. We'll get a chance to chat with him. And Christian, I believe you've had a chance now to track him down, and let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, I came up here to talk to Tim Harper, a good friend over here, but I'm sure you're a little, maybe happy. I don't know. It's third place. I'd be happy with it, especially at Talladega. You survived. The car looks pretty good, and it's still in one piece. So tell us about your race, and did you have enough fuel there at the end, or did you run out coming to the line as well?
I ran out in the tribal, so I'm not sure how that would have been if that big wreck didn't happen. But gained a lot of positions from the big wreck, and that, I think that sets us up pretty good in the owners' points going into the last race of this round of 12. So hopefully we can. I'm gonna get somebody to drive this car out the Roval. I think I hit my caution limit, and plus I'm not a good driver at the Roval, so we'll see who we can get put in it. Maybe a ringer or something.
Yeah, I got to find those ringers that love those road courses to put in that car. I know I have experience of going out and finding those, so maybe you can go to me for some help to find someone for you. But I mean, it was a pretty wild race in total. There was a couple of cautions there throughout the race. Did you have a strategy set up with teammates to get this thing won if there was maybe a caution, or what was your strategy coming into the night? And was this the strategy to just survive?
That's one of the strategies. The other one's just basically I was gonna help John and Cody any way I could, knowing that they're in the drivers' championship or whatever, and I just came in the night looking to get them as many points as possible and maximize, and hopefully they go into the Roval and do good, and I wish I could help them there too, but unfortunately not. No, just survive and help my teammates out any way I could, push one of them to the win, I hope, but just didn't turn out that way. It was a fuel game, and it just all went downhill with the fuel and the wrecks. So.
Well, you made it work in the end. You were able to get third place. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go here tonight?
Yeah, I want to tell y'all thank y'all for putting on a great broadcast, and congrats to you winning the race yesterday, although I'm still mad at you. Thank Pay to Win setups. They put out some fast setups, and 213 Simware, they got some good t-shirts and flags and stuff like that. So, yes, thank Josh for putting on the league, and see what we can do in the trucks whenever they get back.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the season over in the Truck Series Homestead coming up for you. Been a hit or miss track, so hopefully you're able to possibly get a win there.
Doubt that, but I appreciate it.
All right, have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, Trevor, I believe you caught up with our second place finisher, Blade Timmons.
Indeed I did. Blade Timmons bringing it home in second place. There was a moment there where he could see daylight and could see the checkered flag, and he thought, maybe, just maybe, I'm going to take second place. I'll take that top spot and take the win. But Blade joining us now, you took second. It's got to feel pretty good to take second place, but, I mean, you're that close to getting the win.
Yeah, I mean, I did my best at that final stage to sit there and save fuel with Vinny there, but with everything, I'm probably gonna make it right to the line with running out of fuel. So when the seas parted and I was by myself in air, it didn't take long for it to click off, and it started sputtering down the front stretch.
Well, it started sputtering, but you did, as you said, save fuel. How was that communication going on within your team? How early were you aware that you needed to save fuel, and how aggressive of fuel saving were you doing?
Saving pretty aggressively there. I mean, we communicated very well. I pretty much stayed attached to Vinny's bumper there for, a good amount of laps, and once he hit his number for his fuel window, he was all right. Let's go. So we took off and rolled on from there, and made it to the front quite quick. So I thought he had cleared the lane in the middle, but I didn't see the other car. I was glued to him, but I about messed us up there, but it kind of worked out.
Well, you were sitting kind of towards the back of the pack as you came through the white flag. At what point did everything kind of change? I mean, you going through that incident and you managed to survive, and then, as I said, you're one of the top 2 cars coming through it. Did you think, I've got this one now, I've got this one in the bag? And I mean, you got so close to victory. You're just before the start-finish line before Dakota passed you.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure who was caught up in it. I was trying to make sure that thing got to the finish line, so I wasn't staring at my relative. But by the time I got closer, I seen that he was still on the full power and he was coming quick. So, I mean, I knew I was about to give it up, but I'll take P2. I mean, to survive the race, I mean, that's all you can pretty much ask for here anyway.
Absolutely. Well, you did an amazing job to hang on and get that second place. A lot of drivers, very talented up and down the field. Didn't even have a shot at it there at the end, so you survived very well. Blade, not the first time that we've seen you up here in the front of one of these races, so I'm sure that victory is soon to come. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for your run to second tonight?
Man, just y'all for putting on a good broadcast every week, and Josh for putting on a hell of a league, man. We appreciate what all y'all do. So to put the time and effort in to make all this happen, man. So if it weren't for y'all, I mean, none of this would be possible. So just appreciate y'all.
That is very kind of yourself, and I'll relay that to the rest of the broadcast team. I do appreciate it. Blade, congratulations on second place. We'll look forward to seeing you at that good going in the future, possibly one step even higher.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. So that is Blade Timmons joining us. And by the way, we get compliments, and we are so appreciative of those compliments towards our broadcast. We got it in the chat tonight from John to Talent. We really appreciate that, and all the drivers that come on. But if there is one person that you want to thank for these broadcasts, it is Ronnie Norman. He has been the one who has stepped up and made this happen financially. So if you do want to send a big thank you to somebody for putting on these broadcasts, it is him. He found us, and as a result, we've done so many of these great NORA Cup and Truck Series races, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So with that, let's go ahead and bring in the man of the hour. I can't believe I'm saying it, but Dakota Moniz, you went from the back of the pack there coming through the white flag, and you somehow managed to stay clean. It was like watching Days of Thunder or something like that, man. It was incredible to watch you part the seas and somehow survive to the end. Congratulations on taking your very first victory here in the NORA Cup Series.
Yeah, what a crazy way to get the first victory in this league. Yeah, like you said, the seas parted ways, and we were lucky enough to have just enough fuel to get to the end as well, across the finish line first.
So, talk us through this final lap. You know, as you come across the white flag, you're sitting at the back of the pack. Now, at that point, are you thinking, okay, I'm going to make my big move and come forward? Or were you just kind of resigning yourself to just taking what's available to you? What was really going through your head at that point? Did you think maybe you had some fuel and nobody else had fuel? What was going through your head at that point?
Honestly, coming to the white flag, my thought was just hopefully, be there, just have enough to get to the end and see what happens. I wasn't really gonna make any moves or go full throttle on that last lap. Just wanted to make sure I had enough fuel for the end. So really, it was just waiting to see what happened, and yeah, you saw what happened there, and it worked out in our favor.
Well, and what point, and how aggressive were you doing the fuel saving? Because so many others did run out of fuel. Even Blade Timmons, he and JRC, and I assume Flatline, were all on the same wavelength as far as saving fuel, but you managed to save just that little bit more. How early was it, and was it all of late Apex that was aware of the fuel situation?
Honestly, it started right after the caution before the last restart, I was cutting the engine, clutching in, and making sure to save as much as I could before we went back to green. Tom, unfortunately, he didn't pit with us on that caution, so he had to pit a lot sooner than us anyways, so he was kind of out of the equation. But the rest of us were trying to save and be there at the end. But yeah, it looks like I was able to save just enough to get to the line.
Well, you certainly did, and then you had to make so many split-second decisions. The only downside, maybe making a little bit of contact with Malone, who was, I mean, there just wasn't enough room for all three of you to share the same space, though he was hugging the line pretty close. So, but then once you got through that, you had to make a split-second decision. You saw the cars part in front of you, and you just went right for it. Did you think you were getting the win? When did it dawn on you that you possibly had a chance to still take this win?
Yeah, I feel bad for the 31. Did not want that to happen. Just, yeah, I was running out of space and getting caught between my teammate and him. But after we were able to clear that, it was just, yeah, as soon as they split, it was just, I was going for it and just hoped that neither one of them came down to try to block or do anything like that. And, yeah, it worked out for us.
Well, it was an absolutely phenomenal run to victory, and of course, should be quite a party down there at Late Apex Racing for yourself. As you know, Ryan Bird and some of these others have gotten a lot of accolades, but now it's your turn to get that champagne sprayed on you. But hey, who would you like to thank for your run to win tonight?
I'd like to thank my teammates, first of all. Working with them is always a treat at these places. I want to thank you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast every week. I love it. Thank Josh for putting on an amazing Cup Series league, and definitely look forward to running full-time next season.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to that ourselves, as you've definitely shown well here in the NORA Cup Series, as has the rest of Late Apex Racing. We appreciate your classy racing out there and the level of competition you bring, and we'll look forward to seeing you the rest of this season. Good luck, and maybe there's another win waiting for you around the corner here in the NORA Cup Series.
Yeah, hopefully so. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So that is Dakota Moniz from Late Apex Racing and Blazing Fast Gaming channel over on Facebook, joining us here as he has taken victory at Talladega in round number 32, the second to final playoff race of the round of 12. And it's been an absolutely stunning 3 races here at Talladega. It's been a pleasure to call them all. They've all 3 been quite the different races. If you've missed any of these races that we've done this week, I urge you to go back and watch them in your spare time. It has been an absolute blast. On behalf of Christian Snyder, myself, and all of the NORA Cup drivers, as well as the admin, we'd love to salute you and say thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube Live. Till next time, on Sunday night, we'll be at Icon Cup Series at the Charlotte Oval, and then back here on Tuesday night, or back on Tuesday night for the NORA Cup Series for the Charlotte Roval. So until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Get some great sleep, and get ready for another great race next week. Till then, bye-bye, everybody.